Hello, Scorpio. This is your July 2024 reading. Oh, to be a fixed sign like yourself in July 2024. It's absolutely main character energy for the fixed sign placements. Mars and Uranus are conjoining in the sign of Taurus mid-month. And we've got all those planets moving into Leo and opposing Pluto in fellow fixed sign Aquarius. Sprinkled throughout the month too. It's going to be very, very potent. You are going to be pushing past so many limitations. I mean, will you get a chance to come up for air? I mean, you're going to be dealing with dynamics between people, between you and your ego, between you and the people around you and in your relationships. You're going to be dealing with intense topics, and intense can be good. We can have an intense workout. We can intensely make love or create art, but there is just so much intensity around your relationships, around your money, around sudden breakthroughs, actually. Like the astrology for the fixed sign Scorpio, you're like yourself, and if you have any placements in fellow fixed signs like Taurus, Leo, or Aquarius, you're just going to continue to feel this energy be enhanced all throughout the month. Let's get into your tarot reading and see what is coming up on these cards for you. We'll talk about the astrology as it comes up in these cards too. Okay, so first card out is the Queen of Cups. So it's going to be an emotionally deep month ahead. How you feel about everything, all of this processing you've been doing. The Fool card in its reversal, and another major arcana energy with the Chariot card, the Page of Rods. Okay, so you are going to be pushing forward on your merry way, and you are going to be pushing past the limitation of this uneasiness when it comes to actually doing something, or you feel like, oh, I'm not ready for that, I'm not prepared. You're going to be pushing past that. Okay, so we have the Knight of Pentacles, and what do you know? The Tower. That's Mars right there in action. On the 15th of the month, when this Tower card comes through for the sign of Scorpio, Mars will be conjoined to Uranus in the sign opposite to you, Taurus. You won't be able to ignore this energy. It's going, I mean, look how many major arcana cards there are. Oh no, my gosh, and there's another one, the Strength card, the Three of Wands, the Eight of Cups in reverse, and the Six of Swords in reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana cards in this reading. So July is a huge month, one of the biggest months of the year for you, Scorpio. So let's get into this reading. What I will say before we get into this is I've pulled 10 cards here. If this reading resonates with you, I'm going to be pulling another 10 cards in an extended reading, and I will link that down below. If you feel called to see that reading, that's where you'll find it, in the description box. And if you're just feeling called to hear what these messages are for you, well, stay tuned. We're going to get into this right now. Massive month ahead. With Mars and Taurus opposite what you have in Scorpio. It's a conjunction of Mars and Taurus. Mars is action, like the Tower. It's something happening. Uranus is breakthrough, liberation. It's actually Fool card energy. So you have Uranus and Mars right here in your reading. You have those planets moving into Leo with the Strength card here. Leo is in square to Scorpio. So with squares and oppositions, it's really inevitable. It's hard to ignore. It's felt and it's experienced. And a lot of the time it's external, so things are happening in your world in July, events, circumstances, meetings, a meeting of kind of a crossroads, and a kind of something is significant, and it's profound, and it helps you push past all the limitations, but it also highlights to you where you're in power dynamics that are unhealthy. It also shows you where you are overindulging, overspending, overthinking. So there's something about a saturation of energy for you at the moment, Scorpio, where it's very hot and heavy. It's full on. Like, I feel like full throttle when I see the Chariot card. So July is not going to be a month that just breezes past and you kind of were like, oh, that was pretty chill. No, I think you're going to remember this month, and it's going to set the stage for the rest of the year, perhaps, or it's going to set the stage for the next jump in your timeline. When we see the Three of Wands, we know that we are timeline hopping. It's usually to a much more upgraded place, and the Chariot card always suggests that we're leveling up. And in order to level up, sometimes we have to get a little bit uncomfortable. Let's start with the Queen of Cups. So the very centermost card of this reading is very much to do with your inner world and how things have made you feel. And your emotions have been running really deep, and you're like, the thing that could happen would be you would bypass all of your feelings and ignore them because of how busy you are, or how much ambition you have, or the goals and the dreams and the events, and like you're working hard, you're playing hard, you're enjoying yourself. And I just think the reason that the Queen of Cups, this gentle energy, is in the middle of all of this new beginning, adventure, strength, crisis, ambition and drive and motivation and travel and soul searching. At the center of all of this is this gentle call inwards. And I feel like it's now, Scorpio, that it's time to do that, to make sure your cup is filled. Make sure, basically, you've got a journey ahead of you, and the Chariot card can represent a journey, and the Six of Swords and the Eight of Cups can, and the Three of Wands. And maybe it's not a literal journey, a travel plan or a vacation, but you have a journey on a soul level ahead of you. If we're going on a long journey, it's always good to have everything charged, right? It's always good to pack a snack, pack something to drink. It's always good to make sure, you've got everything you need to not just like sustain you physically, but to also like, why don't bring a board game, bring a book, have a podcast downloaded. If we were going on a long journey, we would like to make it as comfortable as possible for ourselves. So you are going on a long soul journey, and you're going to try and make it as comfortable for yourself as possible. But like I said, when we're going through a timeline hop or upgrading to a Three of Wands energy, a switch or an upgrade, that in between, that jump, that leap, it doesn't always feel the most gentle. So this Queen of Cups is asking you to prepare for the next steps by filling your cup, by knowing what fills you up, what brings you joy, what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel nourished and nurtured, what makes you feel taken care of. Because things are going to get spicy and quick and fully loaded. So you want to just make sure that you are emotionally well looked after, surrounded by those who make you feel happy. But I think this is something you mainly can do for yourself. The Queen of Cups is looking at the Knight of Pentacles here. So there's a dynamic between two people in this reading. You in your water sign, energy for sure coming through here right in the middle. You're looking, it doesn't have to be at an earth sign in your life with the Knight of Pentacles. It doesn't even have to be at a guy or somebody that's kind of like on your level, like a peer or a colleague or somebody who just like is on your wavelength. It's another person. It can be those kind of people. It's another person that you're looking back to for, it looks like, advice. You're looking back to this person. Is it even the old you? And kind of saying like, am I ready for this? Let me step into the voice of Scorpio for a minute. Am I ready for this next step? You're asking somebody. Maybe it is the old you. Are we ready? Have we grown enough? Are we ready for this adventure? Are we ready for this big change? Are we ready for life as we know it to leap to another sort of timeline altogether? Are we prepared? Yeah, when we go on a long journey, we want to be prepared. The gas tank filled up and all of the supplies and all of the necessities. Do we have enough to get there? Do we have to make stops along the way? You're asking, who are you asking? You're asking somebody that you rely on. You're asking somebody who to you knows what they're talking about or is dependable. You're seeking counsel in another person for validation. Is that the right word? Just encouragement for you to know that you're ready. and it's happening. It's inevitable. It's a lot of force. There's a lot of force in this reading. And we'll go into that relationship dynamic a little bit deeper. If it's you as the Knight of Pentacles, you've shown yourself that you're ready. The past energy of the Knight of Pentacles shows me that you've been making so much progress lately, and it's timely, because all of this major arcana energy, when we see major arcana, it's kind of more, I think it's more like soul growth energy. So it's kind of like called in. We wouldn't see these, basically, would we see the Chariot card in your reading, Scorpio, unless you were ready for this level up? We wouldn't, because the soul has called this experience in. You chose your chart. You chose the timing of the transits that were happening. Yes, could the song of the transit play a million different notes or songs? Well, it would be the same note, wouldn't it? But it could play in various different songs. But the symbols and the archetype of the transit would always carry its same note as such. So you're ready for all of this because you've called it in. Now, the Fool card in its reversal, to me, that suggests that you're not feeling ready on a soul level. And, or sorry, maybe it's more on the ego here in the highest self, with the Strength card telling me there's a lot of ego at play as well. That makes sense, because Pluto is so heavily involved in your month ahead, in opposition to, first of all, Mercury moves in the first week of July, tomorrow on the 3rd. Then I think it's around the 12th, Venus moves into Leo. Then around the 22nd, 23rd, Sun moves in. So week 1, Mercury moves into Leo. Week 2, Venus moves into Leo. Week 3, Sun moves into Leo. And every week in July, you'll have this opposition then from the planets moving into Leo to Pluto in Aquarius. And if Pluto is the soul in Aquarius right now, Leo is the ego, and it's this like, I don't want to do that, like, and the soul is like, nah, Scorpio, you know what's best for you, you know what you need to yield to, and you're like, no, but I want this, I want that. And this sort of Leo temper tantrum is likely to happen for you during this month ahead, Scorpio, where you want it your way, and what all this fixed sign energy. Fixed signs are nothing if not stubborn, but they're also steadfast, they're also dependable, but they can be unyielding. Pluto won't allow you to throw your toys out of the pram this month, because it wants to empower you more and more, and this month will test your limits, I believe. And the Fool card is saying on an egoic level, I'm not ready. And the Strength card of the highest self is saying, that's ego saying that. Your soul on a deeper level knows that you're ready for this long journey ahead. It's just because it's not super comfortable that you're making excuses. The Fool card in its reversal, the Fool card is upright. We're going to take a leap of faith. We're going to start something new beginning, all of that stuff. In the reversal, it can be the Fool's rush in, reckless energy, impulsivity, and things like that. And, sometimes it's a cautious energy, and it might be right to be cautious, but at the same time, I don't think there's much to do to stop what's coming, right? Because the Tower is here. Oftentimes the Tower swoops in a sense, energetically. It's Mars, right? So it's action. And sometimes when we're not taking an action, you're like, am I ready? Please tell me I can do this. Sometimes when we procrastinate, delay, or ignore, or stick our head in the sand, the Tower will be kind of like a catalyst of change. Okay, you're not going to do this, but on some level, like, the soul is begging for this experience to evolve, to learn. Sometimes an external can come through and manifest change, or to kind of reroute you and put you on a path that you hadn't necessarily. Ego makes the timelines, doesn't it? Like, no, I wanted to have this done by that time. I wanted this. I wanted. But that's kind of not the energy that's coming through this month for Scorpio, because there's a time and a place that you're meant to be at right now, and July seems to be the pressure cooker of the year for you so far in any of the readings I've done for you so far, Scorpio, where July is not like make or break, but it is kind of like an intensity of energy, and there's an intensity of I don't know. I feel like there's an ex machina coming in here, and you're just like, something just falls from the sky, lands on your lap, and you're like, where the hell did that come from? And be it a download, be it a dream, be it something in the real world, that actually changes the landscape for you in a bigger way. Some of you will be experiencing different landscapes, driving through different terrains, flying overseas, just something that changes the actual, like, literal viewpoint of what you're seeing, okay? All right, so there's this mass, okay, with any opposition, like I said, all those planets moving into Leo will oppose Pluto and Aquarius. With any opposition, we strive for balance, but there's this really strong pull, tug of war between the forces. Pluto's always going to win. So if you're ever in an opposition with Pluto, I'm not saying give up, but I mean, it's going to pull you to the underworld. It's going to pull. The best thing to do is surrender when Pluto is involved. It's not easy. It's not easy. And especially when your values, Venus, are going to be like, Pluto's holding up a mirror at the other end of the opposition to what? Mercury, your point of view, the way you see the world. It's saying, this is inadequate. Shape up, Scorpio. We've got more, like, your mind is going to be blown this month, I think. And then it holds up a mirror to Venus, and it says, like, what's going on in your relationships? How are they working? Are you communicating efficiently? Is the person you're dealing with communicating efficiently? And then when the sun moves in to Leo later in the month and opposes Pluto, it's kind of like, it's going to just like blow up your spot and be like, how have you been acting purely in ego? And let's bring you over to the dark side, Scorpio, where you're going to be very comfortable. But basically I think it's all about getting to know yourself so that you don't have to always seek to the past or look to the past or self-reflect. And so self-reflection is good, of course, and we learn from the past, but we don't always have to go there to another person for encouragement, right? And it's about authenticity with the Fool card in reverse, because there's almost like a timidness here in the present and in the past, and that won't serve in the new timeline, this timidness or this afraid to say or be, okay? It just won't work. The Chariot card, you're going, on some level where you're headed to. You know where this destination is and where it's taking you. And you might be fighting it. We fight in every opposition, but try and find a balance. Give in to the soul a little bit more. Surrender here and there. You can still desire actually derives from the soul's impulses, like Pluto's impulses in the chart, right, so to speak. So like, you're still allowed to want things. You're still supposed to have desires and meet those and strive towards them and have ambition. So you're supposed to be doing all these things. I guess it's just the opposition tendency is about you trying to find a balance this month. And the more basically you run into tension, the more you run into maybe shocks or surprises or detours, roadblocks or confrontation. Maybe then that's your little signal, that's your cue to say, okay, maybe I'm acting too much in ego and I need to strip it back, quieten down, listen to my inner voice and my inner needs, and not trying to do anything or want anything or be anything because it looks good or it's what I think I should be. And yeah, just making some time during this month to get back to Queen of Cups energy, because you know where you're going and it's going to take you to heights that are just, you saw them coming. And I feel like with every sign, there's like this element of psychic ability around them in Cancer season, and the Queen of Cups in your reading right in the middle would suggest that like you can already see this trajectory for the most part. What's holding you back? The Page of Rods, subconsciously, it's fueling all of this. Your ideas are so bright and brilliant and alive, and they're full of creativity, and you're passionate about them and you want to share them, and you have this subconscious setting already in your psyche, which is like fueling all of this. And you know what? It's like, where did that come from? Past life experience or your childhood, when your imagination was just so ripe and unconditioned and you could see and dream and believe in anything. That's like this magic with the Page of Rods. It's like great that your subconscious mind is set at that, rather than like fear or anything like a disbelief in yourself. And there is no conscious disbelief in yourself. You believe in yourself. You just don't think you're ready. But you know ultimately you'll be there at some point in your life, so why not now? The Tower. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to pull 10 more cards in the extended and get into this a lot deeper. But I'm going to pull one more card for the Tower, because the Tower is so vague, and I hate just saying like, oh, Mars and Uranus conjunct on the 15th of July and there's going to be a surprise in store. That's not exactly helpful, because with the Tower energy, sometimes we can be forewarned of the quality of what is being cleansed and purified, because the Tower will create sometimes a external shift where it needs to liberate you when you are not actively doing that. So yeah, a universal tide. We see the tides here. A universal tide change for Scorpio. It's like a nudge. 8 of Swords, there you go. 8 of Swords and the Sun card at the bottom of the deck. This is liberation and freedom and pure authenticity. And this is, this is the fear holding you back, the restriction. You're going to have to break through it. And the only way to break through it is to be bold, to be brave. And for some of you, you're like, no, and the ego's like, no, 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 I hear what you're saying. And if you hear what I'm saying, or if you hear what somebody in your life is saying to you, and you know it makes sense, Scorpio, you know it makes sense, and you kind of are like, okay, fine. And then you go home and you're like, I didn't like the way they said that to me. You know that's your ego in overdrive, because you know it makes sense. So some of you are going to be like, no, I don't care. I have to do it this way. I can't surrender. I can't let go. I have to come out on top, or I have to be right, or I have to whatever. Then the Tower won't be gentle. Okay, so just know that it's all about surrender when the Tower comes through in the middle of the month and you're reaching a position of what feels like, I can't believe it, or if it feels like fear, or it feels like worst case scenario in your mind, right? It doesn't play out. I don't think it really doesn't play out. Then you know that this is where you have to reach your breakthrough. Like I said, July is all about pushing past your limitations. The point of like, it feels in a way like an internal rock bottom or turmoil or fear paralyzing you. Then you know that that's where your work is to push through and push past, if that makes sense. There's nothing that can't be surmounted this month. There is only this fear that you're not ready. That's coming up. But there's nothing that can't be pushed past this month. Like I said, you're able to push past limitations. But in order to push past the limitations, I feel like they need to be highlighted to you. The Strength card. Okay, so the highest self is saying, yeah, okay. The highest self is saying, okay, like this person is holding down the mouth of the lion. You have so much to say, you're chomping at the bit. You have so much to express, you have so much to get done. Okay, and you are at an advantageous position. Should you use your advantageous position to push anybody down or to push anybody out, or should you use it wisely? And the thing about this Strength card, which I'm picking up on now, is saying to me like, there's a tendency to overindulge and lose the run of yourself because of all the momentum and because of all the intensity of the transits that are happening for your sign this month, all of the fixed signs. So if you have other placements, like I said, in other fixed signs, it's a big month. The Wheel of Fortune. Yes, it is. It is indeed. Things are shifting and changing. Ride this tide. The Wheel of Fortune and the Three of Wands together is the timeline hop, shift, and jump, and it is the quantum shift. So vibration then matters, frequency matters. Okay, so any low vibration on this timeline shift is not going to get, it's going to put you in limbo, or it's going to put you on like the second best or the third best. Always acting in love and in inner peace and in harmony. I know that this, you're being tested. Obviously you're being tested with the Tower and even the Chariot, like, you know, rising to success, and you're being tested, and your greatness has to prevail. And well, of course you're being tested, because you're going to land on a really amazing timeline, and you have to be worthy. I'm sorry, but you do. The Lion, the Wheel of Fortune, it's your moment to shine, and it's the tide turning in your favor. But you have to prove yourself worthy. To who? Not to the universe, but to yourself. The Wheel of Fortune, when it steps into a reading, is a moment of fate. So this is a fated time in your life. Like I said, you chose your chart, so you chose the transits that are happening now. So you can empower yourself by raising your vibration. Let's go back to the middle, the very first card, the Queen of Cups. Are you fulfilled? Are you filling your cup? Are you, you are prepared, but you doubt yourself. Are you, this is a journey, right? You're on a long journey now. Make sure everything's charged up. Make sure you have what you like to eat, what you like to drink. Make sure you have your little comfort blanket or whatever it is to take along with you, because this is a big month for you, and it's a big deal. And where you land next depends on you, like a king with the Lion, with the Leo energy, right? Like royalty. There's so much, there's like a big spectrum of how you can be like a benevolent leader, or you can be a complete dictator, right? So you want to be picking the one which demonstrates the most integrity. Interesting end of the month, Six of Swords in reverse, Eight of Cups in reverse. Anyway, let's just quickly look at the timeline you're going to. Oh, look at me just giving you an extended reading. You know, I love you, Scorpio. The Two of Swords here. Okay, so shh. We're not talking about the timeline until the extended reading. Hermit card is like, shh. Okay, yeah. I'm putting these cards down. I don't know what I'm doing. Interesting end to the month for you, Scorpio. Eight of Cups in reverse and Six of Swords in reverse. Expect setbacks, expect returns, expect coming back to where you started. Okay, you're on the car journey. You got to be prepared, but there's always a message here. Expect the unexpected on these journeys. You didn't know that there was going to be a delay on this road, or this, you know, road is closed or something like that. You didn't know that when the destination you were going to, like, they forgot you were coming. Both of these cards suggest something about a journey, metaphoric or literal. Your journey is filled with delays and setbacks, or returning to where you started. The Eight of Cups, somebody or something is returning to you this month, Scorpio, and it's something that you hope to see again and wish to see again. On the other hand, you're also potentially this and the other situation. You also feel like you have rushed through something, and you are going to return to it this month and pick it up again. When we see the Eight of Cups in reversal, we usually are leaving something and moving towards something else. Now we're seeing the reversal, the return, return to sender, return to destination, go back to where you came from. Something like that. A theme of that comes up throughout the month. But specifically at the end of the month, there is a literal setback or delay or halt to your plans. All right. So not a big deal. I mean, it's like, it is going to be like a 10-step forward, a few steps back. But that's just the way, that's just the sort of dynamic, that's just the quality of the pace or the momentum. Just know that that's why I think the Queen of Cups is, so can you go home and take a bath? Can you go home then and use this time when you are on a 3-step back to do something that just makes you happy? Bake a loaf of bread, whatever it is. I don't know, paint a picture, you know, tend to your garden. Whatever it is that just brings you a sense of safety and inner security. That's the kind of remedy for the delay quality that comes through. But we're going to get into this reading a lot deeper in the extended. I'll see you over on Patreon if you're coming over there. The link is in the description. If this is all you're sticking around for, have an amazing month ahead. It looks like it's going to be a really big one for you. Let me know in the comments how things turn out, and feel free to like, share, subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Bye, Scorpio.